Hello, I'm Kiana and welcome back to my channel, or as I like to call it, my corner. So today's video is a sit-down video. I think that's what the YouTubers call it. I'm kind of just going to be discussing mental health and things like that. So May is Mental Health Awareness Month. It's also Cystic Fibrosis Awareness Month. And I've already posted a video about that, and I'm going to try to film some other videos regarding that. But I also wanted to focus on Mental Health Awareness Month because if you know me, hello, I'm the poster child for mental health. I'm gonna have a couple videos for mental health. I think just this one, and then I have another one I want to post. I'm still really scared to post it because it talks about a lot of deep topic. Welcome to today's video. Today I'm just gonna kind of be touching on mental health and my journey with mental health and things around that nature. If talking about mental illness triggers you, or it just isn't your cup of tea, then don't watch this. I'm also going to be talking about depression and self-image and possibly suicide. So please do not watch this if you are dealing with any of that right now or and you're trying to heal, unless you feel like you honestly can listen to it and not be triggered. But I don't want anybody to do anything that's going to trigger the bad parts of them, because trust me, I know how that is. I like to watch people share their stories on YouTube about especially mental health, because I struggle with a lot of mental illness and things like that, and I like to listen to other people talk about their experiences, because 9 times out of 10 what they're saying, we probably have an experience in the same exact way, but you can kind of understand or relate what they're saying to your own experiences. And it's nice to know that other people, other human beings, other people your age, gender, whatever, go through the same things. I personally never ever thought that I could ever experience the things that I've experienced already in my 25 years of life. I don't turn 25 till June, but basically 25. When I was in middle school, I was very heavily bullied, like very badly. Not like in the movies or the TV shows where I was shoved in a locker, or I was gonna swirly in the toilet, or they gave me a wedgie and hung me from the gym locker. Like nothing like that serious. I never expected to be bullied by a boy. Like it still to this day is just so weird to me. It's only been one boy to this day. I guess now he's a man. Hopefully he turned into a man and he's not still a little boy. When it first happened, I honestly didn't even know it was happening, and God bless the girl that told me it was happening, because these people were like talking about me behind my back. And let me just set a preface. From the time of preschool until probably my sophomore year of high school, I probably never said but 2 words in every class I was ever in school, from the time of preschool to sophomore year of high school. I was very, very, very shy and very, very, very full of anxiety. I hated talking. I hated being around people. I didn't like to talk or even look at people. I would just literally keep my head down. I was just really quiet. Never did anything to deserve what I went through. And I think most people who get bullied, nobody deserves to be bullied or to be talked about or anything like that. Let me just say that. But in this instance, I never did anything to these people, didn't even know these people, they didn't know me. And one day this girl in my class was like, why do you let them do that? Like, she didn't know that I didn't know that they were doing this. And I was like, what are you talking about? And I guess this girl and this guy that sat like 2 seats behind me in one of my classes, they used to walk in the room, they used to make horse noises at me. I'm going to do something right now in this video that I used to never be able to do because of my being insecure. And I'm still very insecure about it. But if you look at my nose from a side angle, it's fairly long and large. I wasn't insecure about my nose, didn't even realize it was big until I was bullied. They used to come into the classroom every day and make horse sounds at me. And I didn't even know they were doing it. Somebody else noticed it and brought it to my attention, which I wish this person kind of would have just called them out instead of telling me. But I'm not mad at them. I'm just saying. Still to this day, I have very, very large insecurities because of that, because after that, I started to pay a lot more attention to everything about myself and started to pick myself apart in every way I could. I was also very, very, very skinny in middle school, and I didn't hit puberty till Thanksgiving break of 8th grade, which I feel like most girls probably either did in between 6th and 9th grade. I didn't until late 8th grade. Was real skinny. I was very athletic at that time. I was playing soccer. I was always outside playing. Like, I was just a very active kid, and it was just in my genetics. Neither one of my parents' sides of the family or my parents are heavy people, and I say that with as much grace as I can. I'm not trying to offend anybody by saying that, but it's not in our genetics to be bigger or thicker or anything like that. Point is, all parts of my family are pretty lean. Like, nobody in my family is bigger or anything like that. So it doesn't run in our family. And I really mean all of that in the nicest way. I'm not really trying to come off to offend anybody. So I was real skinny. And I used to get bullied for being too skinny. I used to get called an X-ray with hair, a giraffe, Jolly Green Giant. I mean, anything you could think of. How's the weather up there? Sometimes it bothered me, sometimes it didn't. But, like, the things that would hurt was when people used to make fun of my, like, weight, like how skinny I was. I've never experienced somebody being bullied for being too skinny. And I've watched people bully skinny people and tell them that they're fat, and then that leads them to, whatever. But I honestly never heard of such a thing. And I was so skinny when I was younger that, like, my head literally looked like a bobblehead on my body. My collarbone would, like, protrude. I had a thigh gap. You could literally see, like, my xiphoid process. But one of the things that stuck with me with that was, and nobody knew about this, and I still don't really know if my parents know about it. I didn't really talk to anybody about it, but there was, like, 1 week. I didn't do it continuously, but there was, like, 1 week where it really got to me, and I tried to, like, eat my life away to gain weight because people were telling me I was too skinny, and I did that for, like, a week, and then I realized I don't really care what they have to say because I just don't. I feel like I get this from my mom, because my mom is a very free spirit and does not care about anything. Well, what anybody, like, negative has to say. When I was in middle school and the bullying started, it definitely has 100% affected me till this day, but I never let it get me depressed or, like, the S word. It never made me want to unalive myself back then. And I've watched a lot of stories and listened to a lot of stories where people in high school were bullied or middle school and they wanted to do that to themselves. I never ever wanted to when I was bullied, because for some reason it bothered me for like a week when I found out about everything, and then I tried to, like, change all these things about myself or figure out how to alter it, and then I was like, this is too much energy. I'm lazy and I don't want to do this. And I eventually realized I don't care. These people don't know me, and I couldn't even grasp why they were choosing me. And I'm like, what the heck? And I went through a lot more bullying throughout my high school years too, but I don't want to get into that right now. So that was probably one of the first times I ever felt insecure or started to, like, really start to question my self-image and things like that, like physically. I still to this day am still very insecure about my height and my nose. As a female, I hate being almost freaking 6 foot, but I've learned to embrace it a little bit more. Somebody who's a very big inspiration for me is Zendaya, because she's the same height as me, and I just always grew up looking up to her, and I still do, but I've gained my own individuality into the fact where I don't really need to look up to anybody. I can kind of just hold my own. Anyway, fast forward to, I didn't even know that I was happy until I wasn't. I don't know if that makes sense, but all my life I used to think that I was, like, perfect. Like, people would go through things and I'm like, why are you so mad? Why are you so upset? Why are you so sad? Like, I used to not get why people had emotions. Like, I had emotions, don't get me wrong, but, like, I used to just not understand why people reacted certain ways to certain situations. I did not understand true unhappiness until I lost my best friends. When my first best friend died in 2019, that probably was the first moment I ever experienced heartbreak. Losing her was a big change and shift in my mental health. It was the first time where I really, really did not bounce back from something that affected me mentally. And I still really haven't. But the reason why I'm here on this video tonight, on this May night in 2023, is because we'll get to everything to today's date, but I'm starting to find myself again without them. But anyway, I'm able to talk about it now because I'm not as emotional. When Alani passed, that crushed my spirit to a different level that I didn't even know, a pain I didn't even know you could feel. I lost my grandfather at 6 years old, but I literally I had no grasp of that at 6. And I still grieve him today because I grieve the fact that I didn't really get to know him that well. Losing her was probably the first really big heartbreak I experienced that I want to say effed up my mind. Then a year and 4 months later, her sister, my other best friend, her twin sister, passes away. And then for me, that was just kind of like the final straw. I honestly, watching Aaliyah grieve Alani and try to live her life, and she really did try, I feel like, in my opinion, to the best of her abilities, to try to find happiness without her twin sister. And watching her family go through that, I felt like I didn't have the right to have grief or to grieve them or to miss them. Like, I don't know. I still sometimes feel like I was just their best friend. I sometimes don't feel like I have the right to feel the pain I feel, which I know I do, but I struggled a lot with that back when they first passed, because I felt like here I am so distraught because I lost my best friends, but somebody lost a sister, a daughter, a cousin, a niece. I went through a lot of hard times when I lost them where I literally lost my mind. And I don't mean like I went crazy, but like I didn't know who I was anymore. I didn't know what I wanted to do with life anymore, and I was officially unhappy. And I never knew that I was happy until I wasn't, until I was unhappy. I started to try to find myself again. While Aaliyah was passing, I tried to prepare myself that it was a possibility that she would pass. Like when she was in the hospital fighting, I tried to make it a point to try to prepare myself because we had already lost Alani a year ahead of time, and I didn't want to believe that it was possible for Aaliyah, but I didn't want to be shocked if it happened, because with Alani, I never thought it would happen. But that's one of the things that really made me, and still sometimes makes me, hit rock bottom in my mental health. I also experience a lot, I don't want to say daddy issues, because me and my dad, we have a good relationship now, but growing up, our relationship has definitely been rocky, and that's a situation I will never get into details about on the internet because it's very, very private. But me and my dad have had our share of rough patches, and I don't even want to get into that. Nothing physical. Please don't think that. Is the situation that I've gone back and forth with my dad. I'm stuttering so bad. The situation with my dad growing up and how sometimes that was really hard. Moving out really helped our relationship. Moving on to when I moved out on my own in 2020 during the pandemic, I had to get out of my house. Everybody quarantined at our house. Me, my mom, my dad, and my sister's dogs. I say dogs because those dogs are crazy. I was the only essential worker in my house when COVID happened. So I was the only one that had to get up in the morning and go to work and come home and just want to be peace and quiet. But no, it was TVs blasting, people yelling, laughing loud at night, dogs barking. It was just too much. And when you literally couldn't go anywhere to get away from it except for to drive, like it was just too much. So that's when I started to apartment hunt and finally moved out. And when I was out on my own, I started to find happiness again. I started to kind of feel like I was thriving again. And then I met a friend at work and for some reason fell for them. Didn't think I would because I didn't see myself falling for this person. Fell for them, got really, really close with them, created a really good bond with them, and then we ended up dating, and everything that could have went wrong in that relationship. That's all I'm going to say about that. And that screwed me over so hard because I opened up to this person and told them all the things that I had been through, like relationship-wise. I've never been in a real relationship, but you know what I mean. And they promised they would never do that to me. They promised they would be different, and they probably hurt me worse than anybody who's ever hurt me. Tried to make a friendship out of a bad relationship with a person. That didn't go well, ever. For 3 years, I allowed that toxic thing to go on in my life, and I'm just now getting over it, or at least attempting to. There is so much more detail and things that goes into what I'm saying, but then we would literally be here for like 8 years. But all of these things all pretty much happened year after year, month after month, and this is what all made me reach a level of unhealthy mental status and not taking care of myself and not reaching for help when I needed it. I never really reached out for help because I never had struggled with depression or anxiety or mental illness as hard as I did after all of these things happened, or in the middle of them once they all started to happen at once. After going through that situation and experiencing heartbreak from losing people to death and then heartbreak of a relationship, there was just so much pain I had inside of me that I could no longer function. I compared myself to every person I came across. I hated everybody around me because I thought everybody was against me, because everybody I tried to be close with, it didn't make sense. Like everybody was fake towards me or had ulterior motives, and it was just terrible. The relationship I tried to be in, a person I fell so far in love with because in the beginning was amazing, turned out to be my worst nightmare, and everything just that could have went wrong. I lost myself so hard. And I talk very openly about my suicide attempt and my suicidal ideation because I feel like it's very taboo to talk about it openly, and I understand why, because it can reach the wrong ears and then maybe give somebody the wrong idea, then they might want to attempt it. But I talk about it so openly because, one, I'm not this huge influencer, so it's not like everybody in the world's about to listen to me talk about it. Two, if somebody were to hear me talk about it, I want them to know that when you're in a dark place of your life, it's not normal to feel that way, but it is common and it does happen, and you should be able to identify your feelings, why you're feeling that way, and figure out what you need to do to get out of that mindset, because it's not a healthy mindset. But it's okay to share that with people. I feel like a lot of people are afraid and tiptoe around the topic of self-harm. In no way, shape, or form am I saying it's okay to do it, but it happens to people. People feel that way. I know what it feels like to reach a point in your life where you feel like you're never, ever going to get out of it. And no matter how old you are, I really do hate when people, like older people, say, well, you're too young to be depressed, or you're too young to feel this way or feel that way. I really do hate that so much, because that invalidates people's feelings. And the first step to pushing somebody into suicidal ideation is not validating their emotions or helping them understand them. And telling somebody they're too young to feel some type of way, that is not okay. I don't like that. If somebody's coming to you and saying they feel some type of way, like they're really serious about feeling emotional, or they're feeling lonely or whatever. If you're a child or somebody comes to you and says, I'm feeling this way, and it's a deep feeling, wanted, unloved, unworthy, worthless. If anybody of any age comes to you and says that, saying you're too young, I just feel like I get so tired of hearing that. I really do. Because we're all human beings, and a part of our body chemistry and our brain is to feel emotions, and they're not all going to be happiness. I mean, that's real life. So when older people tell me, you're too young to feel that way, or you haven't lived to feel that way, everybody goes through things at different phases in life, and you can't tell somebody they're too young to feel some type of way. But anyway, I like to talk so openly about unaliving and having those feelings, because they do happen. And even before you get to that part in depression or in your mental illness, there are so many ways to keep your mind from going that far. But if you have no support around you, you will be your own worst enemy. If nobody out there even wants to take the time to listen to you or understand the pain you're going through, or just, you don't even have to respond to somebody when they want to talk to you about what's in their head. Now, unless they're literally saying they want to go kill somebody or themselves, yes, you should probably find a way to help them get out of that mindset. But if somebody's coming to you and they're going through something really dark, listen. You don't have to really necessarily answer, because sometimes there's nothing you really can say, and sometimes it's better to not say anything than say the wrong thing. But I know for me personally, I never really expected anybody to understand what I was going through or what I was saying. I just wanted somebody to listen and know that these things were in my head. But a lot of times I reached out to the wrong people and they made me feel worse. I would feel very worthless, and it led to really dangerous things for myself. And I'm going to be very honest here. When I was younger and people around me, now, not people who have actually died and passed away from doing it to themselves, but people who have attempted. When I was younger, I used to judge those people. I used to think they were doing it for attention. I used to think that they were dramatic. I'm being so honest, and I know how terrible that sounds, because trust me, it is terrible. Because I had never experienced anything to make me feel like that was necessary. I judged people who used to post on social media about it, about how they tried to do it to themselves, or just talking about their experience with it. I used to judge them, and not like super hard, but like I used to think like, oh my gosh, like nothing's that serious, or oh my gosh, like you're just posting this because you want attention. I used to really think that, and I don't really like saying it out loud because it disgusts me. Probably the past 4 or 5 years, I haven't thought those things, but when I was younger, like probably high school and after, a couple years after, I'm not gonna lie, I judge people who used to share those stories because I thought they did it for attention. And really, in all reality, maybe some people do it for attention, but we never know. And I know for me, I've posted stuff about it on social media. I've talked openly about it to other people, and I get told I'm looking for attention. I get told I just want attention. And now I know how it feels. I'm getting my karma. And really, I didn't want attention. I just felt like it's not that serious and I don't need to hide it from anybody. I went through a dark time. I did try to take my own life. It's not a secret, and I'm not happy about it. I do still feel very ashamed of it, but I'm not going to pretend like it didn't happen. People will tell me I'm doing it for attention, and now I know that people who I thought were doing it for attention back then, maybe they're just posting on social media and talking about it because they feel alone, and that's their only way to reach somebody or to feel like they are expressing themselves. And I didn't understand that, and I definitely got a rude awakening to understand it better. Every single human being goes through trauma and experiences unbelievable things in their life. Whether it's early on, later in life, we all have those experiences that either teach us things or scar us for life, or, cause us to grow older and have long-term effects. You just never know, but everybody goes through things. I read this thing once where somebody said everybody has a story, and that is so true. One thing everybody should agree about in the world, and that is just being nice to people. When I've reached out to people for help, or not necessarily help, but just to talk to them, the responses I've gotten before are just ridiculous. Oh, are you gonna cry? If you're gonna cry, I don't want to talk. If you're gonna talk about your feelings, I don't want to hear it. If you're gonna be emotional, if you're going to talk about something you've already talked about 3 times that I've already heard, I don't want to hear it. This isn't just from one person. This has been multiple people, but mostly one person. And it is just so disgusting to me. Like, you're supposed to be my friend or somebody that's like a loved one in my life, and you can really say that to me? Okay. I've had times in my life where somebody's always calling me crying, and it does sometimes get frustrating, but I would never tell them, please don't call me if you're going to be crying. Like, no. We as a human race need to start being just so much nicer to each other. Is it going to cure mental health and mental illness? No, because ultimately a lot of mental illness and mental disorders are things that we can't control in our brains, and our brains are so complex that we'll probably never understand them. But I do think that words do hurt. And that saying that we learned in preschool, sticks and stones might break my bones, but words will never hurt me, that's a lie, because that's usually what hurts people is words. And mental health is so complex, but I just feel like if more people were there for each other and supported each other, I feel like it could definitely help in most situations. Trying to understand somebody who's dealing with mental illness when you don't experience it and you probably don't understand it, if you don't experience it and you don't understand it and you don't have any desire to, then you can maybe just tell this person coming to you that's dealing with it, I don't understand it and I don't really care to, but maybe I can help you find the right person to talk to. Whatever. You can be honest, just don't completely just drop your friend off and just not help them. I'm not perfect at any point, and I'm guilty of a lot of really bad things, as is everybody else. But one thing I will always say is I love who I am as a person. I overlove people. I overcare about people, but I don't care. I will always be that way because you never know what the next person is going through. You never know what they might end up going through, and you might just make their day. And kindness is a two-way street. You feel good for being kind to somebody, and they feel good for it, for you being kind to them. There's nothing wrong with kindness. It can't hurt to just spread a little kindness. And it sounds cheesy and cliche, but it's so freaking true. Stop being so mean to people. Stop being so miserable and causing so much negative energy around people. Stop being so mad at the world and being mad at things you can't control. And it's okay to feel that way. It's okay to be emotional and feel pain and be angry. But don't lash out on those around you. Don't pretend like your pain is the only pain that ever lived on this planet. Don't pretend like your pain is greater than somebody else's. Because whereas somebody who lost their grandma and somebody who lost their fish, I'm not even saying this to be funny. You might think you losing your grandma is more serious, but it's equal. Because for them, that fish might have been alive for years. That fish might have been their emotional support fish. And for them, that's a big deal. And it might not be a big deal to you, but it was to them. And to make them feel less for it, no, we don't need to do that anymore. Stop thinking that your problems are the only problems in this world that matter. It's called narcissism, and I hate narcissists. You're not going to like everybody you come across in life. Not everybody's going to be your friend. Not everybody's meant to be a part of your journey. Mental illness is very complex, but a very easy fix to a lot of mental struggle and emotional struggle is just being kind to each other and holding each other's hands when people need you to. It's as simple as that for most situations. And I think honestly in my situation, if I would have had a little bit more support. Now, I'm not saying that you have to lean on somebody all the time or else, you're not going to get through it. You should be able to be happy and figure things out on your own, but it does hurt when people don't want to support you. Not everybody's going to support you, and having your own will to thrive and your own will to do better and get out of a dark place is just as important as somebody helping you. But it is nice to have somebody help you. It is nice to have people along the way to kind of, help you see the light. And some people don't want to do that, and some people are rude. And I just wish we could just all be more kind. Go out today or tomorrow and be nice to somebody that needs it. Whether they're nice to you or not, just go ahead and be nice to them. Give them a compliment or something because they're probably miserable and they don't want to reach out for help and they just need that little thing that tells them, maybe I can find happiness. There are good people out there. I am worth it. I am beautiful. I am supposed to be here. I'm supposed to be on this earth. I'm supposed to be alive. I'm supposed to succeed and thrive. Sometimes just one little compliment for somebody or just one smile or hello can make somebody feel so amazing. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. I'm sorry if this video is really super long, but I hope that you watched it all the way through. And if you did, I appreciate you so very much. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And be nice to people. And that's all I have. Peace out.